children's minister here at St. Nicholas Church, and today I'd like to share with you a godly place story. It's the story of the Holy Eucharist. It's a great mystery, and I hope that you will have time to listen, think about this story. Jesus came into the temple. He was a young man, and he picked up a scroll, the scroll of Isaiah from Isaiah, and he read it to the elders who were gathered. The Spirit of the Lord is on me. He has anointed me to tell the good news to your people. He has sent me to announce freedom for prisoners. He has sent me, but he is blind will see again. He wants me to free those who cannot be beaten down. And he sent me to announce the year when he will set his people free. Everyone who heard this was amazed. Jesus was saying that God had sent him. Was he the Messiah? Was he the one they had been long waiting for? But how could this be? They were all confused. This was Jesus. They knew him. He was Mary and Joseph's son. How could he be the Messiah? Some of the people got angry, and they told Jesus to leave the temple, and then a great mob began to gather after they heard this, and they took him to the edge of town, and they threatened to throw him over the cliff. But Jesus escaped. And he went on to perform his ministries over a number of years. And the people did not understand what he had said. Several years later, it was the Passover. And Jesus had come to Jerusalem to share the Passover. He was in the upper room with 12 of his disciples, and they were eating and drinking. And Jesus took the bread and he broke it. And he gave it to his disciples, and he said, "Take, eat. Whenever you do this, this is my body. Remember me when you do this." And then he took the wine, and he gave them something. He gave them the wine to drink, and he said, "Take this. This is my blood. Whenever you share wine, remember me." But once again, the disciples were confused. What does he mean that he is the bread, or he's in the wine? How can that be? And it would be a while before the disciples began to understand. And that's how our communion began. And now when we celebrate it, or we remember it in two parts. We think about, first of all, the Word of God. When Jesus told us who he was. And then we remember it, the breaking of the bread and the Holy Communion, as he shares his body and blood. These are the two parts of this great mystery. Well, when we began Holy Communion, we began with an opening. There's a procession. The priest comes in with the candles and the gospel. And he says the special prayer, the collect. It's new each week. But it helps us to gather together together, turn our thoughts to learning in the Word of God. And then someone comes forward from our congregation and they read us the lessons from the Old Testament, from the stories that Jesus would have known and had read. And then we have a reading from the New Testament into how the life and the acts of Jesus and the apostles and how our Christianity spread throughout the world. And then we have the priest bring the Bible into our midst. And he reads us a lesson from the Gospels, from the good news, from the stories of Jesus and his work when he was here with us on earth. And sometimes these lessons may be a bit hard to understand. And the priest tries to help us by giving the sermon. The sermon is something that he has thought about for a long while. He's gone to a special school. He spent years of his life thinking and reading the Bible and trying to understand how these words from the Bible are important. And he tries to explain those to us, or to show us how they're relevant to us today in this world, in this time, and in our life. Maybe we can understand what Jesus or what the Bible and God have been telling us. And after he gives us our sermon, we understand a little bit more. We all stand and we think about what we believe as Christians, and we recite that in our Nicene Creed. It helps us to remember the important parts of what we believe as Christians. And then we give thanks. We have prayers. And we pray as a people, as God's people. And it makes us remember we're not perfect. Sometimes, even though we don't mean to, even though we want to be good people, sometimes we sin. We confess this to God. He already knows. But he is glad that we come to him and tell him that we have sinned, that we've done things we shouldn't have done, and we haven't done things we should have done. And finally, after the priest has assured us that God has forgiven us, we're so excited. We're so happy. We're so surrounded by those who love us that we share the peace with them. That special peace, that special understanding, it only comes from God. And we turn to the Holy Gospel, or to the communion. And we think about what Jesus told those so long ago. And gradually, as we think about this, we are there, and it is here. First thing we do is we offer up to God all that is important. We give him our thanks, we give him our money, we give him our hearts. We bring forth the bread and the wine that he can share with us. And then the priest offers the great thanksgiving. gradually, he lifts up the bread, and we can not only see it as he lifts it, sometimes we can hear it as he breaks bread for us. And he gives a special prayer, consecrates this special bread and wine. We watch as he breaks it. And finally, we share in that communion that was first offered by Jesus to his 12 and is now offered to us, the communion rail. Finally, at this great moment, the priest gives us one last blessing from God and assures us that God is with us. Into